Sorry.
Sorry. You just missed our land acknowledgement, sorry. Good thinking. With our volunteers' passion for writing and with their commitment to the creative community, through teamwork and energy, they made 9 years go by quickly. Now, it hasn't been the same without Shane L.S. Dennis, owner of Unity Market and Cafe, so I really felt we had to make sure we made a note. He was our official founding member. He wowed us with his lyrics and presence. He offered us free of charge a lively and colorful space to host Word Up until the pandemic arrived. So a big thank you to Shane, if you ever see this. Much appreciated, and you're missed. One of our founders, Aaron Reynolds, stuck it out for 7 years, using his skills creating the website and assisting with online marketing and even emceeing on occasion, among a lot of the other things that we do. He's a man of few words. He uses them thoughtfully, and he's shown me what it looks like to set boundaries and how easy it is to be kind. I'm proud to call him friend, so I don't think he's here yet, but thank you, Aaron. And when I met at the cultural department at the city of Barrie about the need for spoken word reading series, Annalie Groves connected me with the newly crowned poet laureate, Bruce Meyer. I'm 100% sure I had no idea what a poet laureate was at the time. So a lot has changed in 9 years, that's for sure. So Bruce, come on up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm hoping my glasses are my box, so. Good evening. I never thought this would last this long, and I see Bev Wicks back there. She was involved in this early on, and trying to see who else is here that I know who was involved in making this happen. But we tried to get Damien Lopez out, and he hasn't. I don't know. He's disappeared. So
Maybe he did respond.
okay. So, anyways, yeah, it's great to be here. I had a liver transplant last July, and so when I say it's great to be here, it's really great to be here. So, anyways, this is a poem titled "Church." I'm going to read 2 poems. One is kind of a farewell poem to Word Up. So, the first one's called. Can I put this somewhere?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is. There we go. Nice. Just talk back. Okay. You can see the corner of me. I'm the hidden guest. So, anyways. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, my voice has gone thready too, which is something from all the tubes down my throat. Anyways, this is titled "Church." Okay. Ah, hello. Church. On a late summer evening, I stopped to walk around a country church. The windows are too high to look inside, but through a crack between double doors, I can see the altar painted white, the plain interior, and shadows of colored glass making prism patterns on pews. There is a scent to old churches, the perfume that sunflowers bear after they have endured July and their necks begin to bend, as if they are inspecting themselves to make sure they are still standing. The carved stone above the door names the church for a lost town that stood at this crossroad. The headstones are white and worn by winters, and I imagine old men and women bowed in solemn prayer as they said goodbye to friends they had known most of their lives, while staring into the open graves as if looking down a dirt road toward their own destinations. A willow at the churchyard fence is not weeping. though it could be, not for sorrow or for loss, but because time has left it to its own devices, and there is no one to talk to anymore. In moments such as these, I believe God talks to himself, mumbles about the crumbling steps, the slanted cement porch, the rusting boot scrape to the right of the door, and the wrought iron hooks waiting to latch on their own divine purpose. And I know that heaven has limits. So many say there is a presence to love and be loved by, though I know of no other ways in which knowledge asks more of a person than it gives. A matter of saying, someday, someone will stop here again and find meaning in the cricket song at dusk, or the grass that is crisp underfoot, and wait to be baptized by rain that will come too late to save the season from its worst fears. So that's okay. The church used to be on Dufferin Street. It was a place called Headford, which has been obliterated. It was north of Toronto, but it's been obliterated in recent years. This is my sort of farewell poem to Word Up, although I didn't write it as such, but it seems apropos for the evening. And after years of Word Up, and I want to say thank you to Linda LaForge for the energy, commitment, and the sense of passion she brought to making readings happen in Barrie. So well done. So this is an afterlife for language. After my final grades have been submitted, there's a week between terms when I awake late, pour myself some coffee, and stare out the kitchen window at the birds we attract. Purple finches by the flock, a pair of cardinals, and a redwing I hear but haven't seen. They remind me no one is entirely alone, that even when the winter term has gone, others will follow in a week, summer, fall, the questions that seldom change because language works to stay the same, plays by the rules of its own, of its spectator sport, its grammar, spelling, syntax, and the greatest hits of fine punctuation. My favorite mark is an ellipsis, the echo that never made a sound, the mysterious ellipsis wandering off to die in the misery of Antarctic snow. I'm going out and shan't be long. The unspoken story that is understood, the bravest of misplaced intentions I hear each time I teach a course online, and my keystrokes don't appear on screen, but are gathered by angels as windfall apples, free to anyone who dares to taste them. Despite bruises, blemishes, and little green worms, and flaws they acquire from falling hard, rolling to their rot in knee-high grass. The kitchen window is open just enough to admit the jibes of chickadees who claim life is what it is what it is, and living a blessing, the natterings of eternal gratitude, a song for an unwritten season. My wife scattered seeds on our patio, and birds have gathered in the hydrangea shrubs to learn whether words have an afterlife if they find no purpose here. Thank you so much. Well done.
Thank you, Bruce. So next. Thank you. There we go. So local poet, see now I'm mixing my words all up. Local poet Dorothy Soholm brought Word Up our first successful application for funding, allowing us to finally begin to pay our featured writers in 2018. So I am 100% sure that that application drove her crazy, and that me and Aaron may have helped. So Dorothy, floor is yours.
You wanna hold the mic or do you wanna just leave it where it
Is it okay just there?
is? You're a bit taller than Linda, so.
Everybody's taller than Linda.
Yeah. We'll try and face the audience.
Too many things to remember.
I know.
Yes. First of all, I have to say thank you to Linda, and I just can't imagine having the courage to go on and on and on the way you have for such a long time, because although it's fun to do something like that, it's also an awful lot of work, and it takes time away from what you would like to be spending on your own development, your drawing. I know in your case, your art is beautiful, or your writing. So just thanks to Linda. The poem I've decided to read to you is from a new manuscript that I've recently completed and might even get around to sending out somewhere sometime. I don't know. It's a collection of glosses based entirely on Canadian poets whose work I admire. And the manuscript's called Complicit, but the one I'm going to read for you is the first poem that appears in it. And it's called All Aboard, and it's based on these 4 lines taken from B.P. Nichols' Continental Trance. Well past dusk, the husk of night's broken only by the train's light. Stars and moon out of sight behind the clouds' wall contains us in this cave. So those are his lines. The great thing about writing glosses is you have at least 4 good lines. You know that. All aboard. Wheels on rails, wheels on rails, wheels on rails. As I ride, am I trapped or safely ensconced in this rhythmical movement of sound? This nation's mythopoetic creation. Does John A.'s vision of Canada sweep past my window? Or is this the husk of colonial power? The need to conquer, control even nature. We roll over farmland and through swampy musk, well past dusk. Tree and rock, tree and rock, tree and rock flash by, what remains of our conquest. And farther along, here and there, pump jacks, nodding their metal approval of our callous disregard of nature's beneficence. I recall history text pictures of bison and men with long rifles, foresight unfocused, shooting from passing train windows. As carcasses piled up, they washed their hands like Pontius Pilate. And here I am, following their steel road. I seek somebody to indict. The husk of nights broken only by the train's light. As we motor onward, we trust the conductor, whoever he is, but grumble about the service, the food that's too hot or too cold, coffee not up to scratch, and we long for the good old days, china and linen, dining cars, steam locomotives belching that lonesome vagabond call. Days of ignorance, when we assumed, as only the ignorant can, our preeminence over all. Stars and moon out of sight, behind the clouds' wall, we hurtle through blackness on our damaged planet. Above us, astronauts and unpersoned spacecraft clutter the galaxy with their debris. What is it we crave? This insatiable need won't be met as we focus on conquest of all that's external. Our unexplored psyche holds us enslaved, contains us in this cave. Thank you.
Can you imagine if this thing creaked? Become very annoying. Did I see Beverly Wicks is here? Did you want to come up and say anything? No. Okay, great. So next, we have some past featured authors, and some of them have featured more than once. So each has an opportunity to read for about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And I'm thinking we should start with Jeanette Windsor. No, you're not reading? Oh, okay. Well, Jeanette Windsor has been a longtime word upper and is a published author, and you'll have to talk to her later about her books. Bianca, do you have anything for us? Awesome. So Bianca has also been a longtime word upper and featured author. She's got a few books, I'm sure, to show us. So Bruce Hanson, you're next if you need to be prepared. And then Ty.
Hi, thanks, Linda, and thanks, Aaron. It's wonderful to be here, and I'm really sad that you're closing down, because I was just looking forward to maybe getting back into the world of the living. I'd like to read a poem to Gordon Lightfoot.
You can stand up here a little bit so people online. There we go. But face the audience.
Do I need to get close to the? Oh, no, okay. Yes, I have to get close. Okay. I think I, as many other people, I'm still really sad that Gordon Lightfoot passed away, although it wasn't unexpected. And he's had a wonderful life, turbulent and exciting. So this is a poem which was published by the Stephen Leacock Museum's anthology, 50 plus poems for Gordon Lightfoot. And I thought maybe this would be a good time to say goodbye to Word Up and Gordon Lightfoot. I was actually very honored to also be one of the poets invited to read at Lightfoot's 74th birthday. So it was really a wonderful event. I got pictures too. I didn't bring them. It's called Canvas of Our Thoughts. In the midst of madness of this world, music is my salvation, you say, as you take my hand and lead me where muses dwell. Eyes closed, we sashay to the murmuring waves, blush of the rising sun, curtain of the falling rain, pyramids of moonlight on an iridescent lake, shadows of the dying day. Palm on heart, I swear an oath to secrecy. Tell me a tale of how it used to be. Of a young boy running through a moonlit meadow, small hand clutching a fallen star, surrendered glow trailing a forlorn meteor, careening long and far to a distant rendezvous. And the boy, now a man, transcends to voice with cord and bar, takes on the yoke of the shifting moors to render a tableau of our times. Mantled old growth of Tamagami, ancient red pines bowing to deep blue lakes, sentinels to treasures ephemeral, shadowed by city discard and screaming chainsaws. You are the rhythm of the Gandhi dancers laying iron to stone, the glint in the young miner's eye in hopes of motherlode, the courage of the seaman bracing against unrelenting storm, the conscience of the drifter who squanders his passage home. You are the voice of dawn, rising from its slumber, whisper of stardust. You will always be there, guitar slung on shoulder, denimed and stately like a totem pole, painting your verses on the canvas of our thoughts. Thank you. And perhaps I can read a second poem. We have time for a second. I will read my poem Temple of Poseidon. And this is an ekphrastic poem inspired by Janusz Karecki's photograph, Temple of Poseidon in Greece. And this is the photograph. And it was published in an anthology, Musings by the Heliconian Club. It's the oldest club for women in the arts. And actually, this little anthology made it to the Art Gallery of Ontario's bookstore. So it's sort of really nice to to be part of this. Temple of Poseidon. Honoring Poseidon, god of the sea, a white marble temple, veiled in magentas, blues, purple hues, as the sun descends into the Aegean. 15 remaining columns of 36, shielding coast of Attica since 5th century BC, grace Cape Sunion, temple of Poseidon. To Lord Byron, you are swan-like, an ancient shrine to sing and die. To Homer, a sacred cape, where Aegeus, king of Athens, leaps to his watery grave. Pythagoras, cup in hand, balancing precariously, filled to the line that limits how much Samian wine to consume at a time. A single drop above, and the cup drains. The cool velvety nectar siphoned out through a secret crevice in the goblet's stem, a votive offering to Olympian gods and goddesses. Did Lord Byron, overflowing the cup of Samian wine, inscribe his name in the marble shrine? Although graffiti are unacceptable, Byron's tag adds meaning and mystery. He lived out his verses and died for Greece. All about the promontory, among the pitted Doric columns, ghosts of sailors, soldiers, and maidens, cloaked in white, kneeling on stone summits, pleading for safe returns and victory. Deep within the windowless sanctum, you rise, a colossal image of god Poseidon, as you were then in golden age of Athens. Your bones of bronze overlaid in gold, keeping watch, granting safe passage to worshippers, casting the blasphemous from white cliffs into the hungry sea, veiled in magentas, blues, purple hues, as the sun descends into the Aegean. I have one poem here, which I do a lot. I read this often, and it's been anthologized a number of times. And it's called Life as a Monarch Butterfly. It's written as protest to the use of pesticides and herbicides, which destroy the monarch's habitat. And I thought this was a good time of year to perhaps read this poem, just to remind us to grow some milkweed. Life as a monarch butterfly. What is it like to be a monarch, you ask, and stamp your thumbprint on my wing? I hear Mozart's Requiem, can see my spent body as Mozart's, dropped into a pauper's pit. A pageant of the conquered and the conquerors parade before my failing eyes. All that I did and did not do, the could have been, should have been, the ones I longed for, loved and lost. Marching to the Requiem, I see me, a young monarch, flitting about the milling crowds, searching for heady scent of milkweed along the paved byways, your pristine gardens, a wasteland to me. I long for lazy days of Angangueo, dozing on dreamy brunch of Yomel, warmed by one and by all, on sunny days breezing on the whisper of wind, soaring through dappled forest, intoxicating on heady scent of milkweed. We press on, swaying to Aphrodite's chant, rhythm of destiny, the pull of ancestral lands. Sorry. Oh. Winged Hades lands softly on the single leaf of milkweed, heavy, gray, amorphous. I hear Mozart's Requiem. Flutter my wings with your thumbprint and lay them gently into a pauper's pit for eternity. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bianca. So Bruce Hanson, he is showed up an awful lot when I was putting this video montage together. I mean, he's got the brightest face you always see, and he's always got something to read to us. So Bruce Hanson, everybody.
Okay. All right. My voice may be a little rough. I was up at Bracebridge doing a reading. And it was a piece that I've read before at Word Up, so I'm not doing it. And I was doing it on Tuesday at a course, and it's with a biker, and there's a lot of dialogue where, hey kid, ever been in prison? And after a while of that and rehearsing, so I picked something different. It's a work in progress. It's very short. It's one page. It's the first page of a story called Been There, Done That. It's for middle grade young adult. And chapter 1, first page is falling. You know the feeling. You're falling. You're afraid, but not totally freaked out. Not yet, anyway. It's almost like you're flying, except you're only flying in one direction, down. And you can't change that. You know you're going to hit bottom, probably with a splat. That's when the panic explodes. That's when you try to scream, but only muffled moans and whines come from your mouth. The moment before you splatter, that nanosecond, when you believe it's all over, your eyes flash open. You look around to make sure you aren't smeared against a boulder at the bottom of the cliff. Of course you're not. You're in bed. Well, that's the sensation I had last September when all this started, except I wasn't sleeping when it happened. So there was nothing to wake up from. Instead, I fell into someone. I was looking at the world through another person's eyes. I know, it's all too weird. 1 minute, I'm listening to Amelia explaining what she had overheard behind the armadillo, and the next, I'm falling. It was like I was collapsing inside myself. When I stopped, I was somewhere else. More than that, I was someone else, someone older. Now, don't laugh when I say this, but someone smarter. I knew so many things. I didn't know exactly what I knew, but my brain was bursting. Everything was swirling inside and out. I heard my voice echoing around me. It'll be all right, baby. You're going to be fine. I won't let you die. Except I did. So I do want to thank. Watch the four, yeah. You just be like me, always getting the spotlight. Linda and Colleen and Aaron and Bruce. I'm an introvert by nature. You know, I got practice getting up in front of people, getting up to read my own stuff, totally different type of fright. So it's through going out consistently to Word Up and reading a lot that I'm feeling much more comfortable doing this and getting out in front of people now that I have a book published. So thank you.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous about reading my work too. It was one thing to teach something, but reading my work, I used to just bulldoze right through it and be like, "Ooh, I did it." But Word Up taught me to do, or at least taught me to better do my work justice. So it was selfish on my part too to do this, if I'm honest. So we're gonna have one of our most recent panelists and Barrie's newest poet laureate, Ty the Poetess.
I'm probably a bit taller. I'm a giant. There we go. Well, thank you guys for having me. This is amazing. Like, you guys almost ran for a decade. That's incredible. And it's clearly been a space where people have grown and learned a lot. So thank you for everything that you guys have done. Thank you. So I'm going to share a quick poem, and then I want to tell you guys about an event that I'm going to be doing. And you guys are all invited, okay? So this poem is titled Strike. Can we all hear me? Yeah, okay. Hello. Courageous is the one who gets out of bed after hiding in sheets for a week, ignoring the negative thoughts, no longer allowing self-doubt to speak. Ridden with anxiety, but still searching for opportunities, competing in mind battles where the opponents can't be seen. This is real strength to me. So that's my little quote. Hello here. And so I've teamed up with Liveberry, and next Friday, I'm going to be bringing down the godfather of Canadian spoken word. He's going to be coming right here to Barrie, downtown. So at CW Coops at 8 o'clock, it's a free event. Dwayne Morgan will be performing. So Dwayne is a two-time Canadian National Poetry Slam champion, and he has been performing since 1993. He has shared the stage with Drake, Russell Peters, Alicia Keys, and he's even opened for Barack Obama. So this should be an amazing event. I encourage you guys all to come out. It's a partnership with Liveberry, May 19th, 8 o'clock, no cover, and drinks are only $4.50. So hopefully I can see some of you guys there. Thank you so much.
Thanks. So we don't have to register?
No.
Wow. Get our butts in there early then. So next we have Michael Marola, who is a writer and publisher at Guernica Editions. He's provided a fabulous array of talented featured authors, including himself at times. He's been a big part of our history and our success. So everybody, Michael Marola.
All right, thank you, Linda, and thank you for inviting me. The last time I was here was, I guess Word Up is about endings for me for some reason. Tonight it's the last Word Up, and the last time I was here in person, we did a Zoom, but the last time I was here in person, my wife and I were driving up here when we got the news that that my mom had passed away. If you remember, that was about, I think it was 8 years ago. I guess it was 2015. Yeah. Anyway, but so that the memories are very strong. So for coming here, I'm going to read a short little. Almost like a flash fiction. Kafka's Ghosts. It wanders like a frigid mouse around the outlines of the city. It huddles in obsolete corners and shifts its red beacon eyes one slight step behind the actual motion of ordinary folk walking the streets. Unlike most ghosts who indulge in petty poltergeistal posturing and fits of scaremongering, its concerns lie strictly with the cosmic, the primal ache, but the cosmic ignores it, or pokes thick, greasy fingers right through its fragile ribs and straight to the unprotected heart below. Thus, it turns to the morosely unintelligent creatures that are barely visible to the naked eye and always on the verge of dying, but they never really die. Instead, they burrow in through their heads beneath its skin and become puffed up on pride and blood. It has neither skin, nor pride, nor blood, nor ribs, nor heart, nor eyes for that matter. Kafka's ghost tries to make love to the manhole covers and throws tender kisses at the chubby rats as they skulk by, snickering about their superior brain power. Kafka's ghost wishes it too had whiskers so that it could size up a potential hole before actually taking the plunge. But then not even whiskers help when a hole suddenly narrows and it must back out or risk getting stuck. And there's no frustration like that experienced when it can't get into a hole that later expands outward to the point of infinity. Or at least it would like to get to the point where whiskers wouldn't matter. Kafka's ghost doesn't seem to know it can get into any hole or no hole at all. On meeting other spirits that might recognize it, Kafka's ghost moves aside timidly into the shadows, touching its left eyebrow with a virginal flicker of its right hand. It has no hands and eyebrows. Other ghosts in loud and brassy voices continue the conversations on politics and art started before the axe fell. That may have caused the axe to fall in the first place. Kafka's ghost mutters to itself little ditties that end in mutilated rhymes and couplets that rise and fall like the squeaks of trampled mice. These never fail to contradict each other. Example, hollow thickness or unwicked business. But in the end, they manage to make absolute sense. Not surprisingly, the ghost's collection of marbles is the largest in the world and increasing by the day. Marbles are the only objects that allow it to feel anything, literally. Particularly impressive is one that, held up to a certain light, reflects the ghost's body within it. The body, slightly blue, is curled head to toe and could very well be dead, save for the twitch running along the image of its left hand. Other marbles are less resplendent, but just as important for Kafka's ghost, containing beetles, mice, apes, dogs, and portions of walls. It likes them also, but only at certain very specific times when in the throes of a mystic aura that allows it to create. Usually it is bored by them and keeps them covered with oily pieces of paper that once held kosher sandwiches, or was that sand wishes. Then it has the normal unreflective marbles, which it picks up from time to time, hoping to find within them a new cycle of myth, or at the very least, an old despair. From mouse to weasel to wolverine, this ghost can convert ordinary rooms with familiar portraits into the deepest dungeons and ordinary insurance clerks into jailer prisoners. Yet it chooses its victims for their caring and sensitivity. And once it has them, the ghost treats them with excessive gentility, for it knows they won't be able to fly again if it were to rub the life powder from their wings. And the ghost wants them to fly again, desperately, straight into the eye of a storm that looks like one gleaming mirror, but is really two face to face. This ghost carries its cage wherever it goes. On the rare occasions when it sleeps, the cage continues to pace within a larger cage that is also pacing. Beyond that, another cage can be assumed, but never seen or sensed in any way. And needless to say, Kafka's ghost can't kill itself because it is a ghost. In this respect, it is like all creatures of that specific kind. Often when the ghost has nothing else to do, it drifts down to the desolate, foul-smelling parts of town where the houses jut out right onto the narrow lanes and the chamber pot juices fly overhead. There it hangs around crumbling garment factories after they have closed for the night, after the women have been freed from the spinning pedals. Once inside, the ghost tries on the half-finished clothes and dances the self-invented tunes. Clothes and music are the excitement of other beings. They make the ghost wish it were some other being and not a ghost, anything but a ghost. But that's not the real reason for hanging around garment factories. It's because of the sewing machines and the looms, the oversized Babbage grotesqueries. These machines are the remnants of nostalgia, a nostalgia that goes back to a time when an anti-hero creation reached the peak of his existence through just such an infernal device. He was the arbitrator and distributor of the only justice possible in a fragmented world where the pieces never touched except to explode. The ghost would like to taste the blood one more time as the fragments circle towards it in the vacuum and then move away again with taunting faces. The ghost lies down on the metal slab, comforted only by a thin cloth left behind by a fleeing seamstress. But no marks are forthcoming on its body, no painful hieroglyphics to decode. It has no body. The needles fly right through it to rip apart the thin, once more abandoned cloth. And the great wall will remain forever like the lower part of a gap-toothed mouth. No longer can the ghost define the exquisite tortures that victims have for centuries inflicted on themselves or begged others to inflict on them. They have been reinvented now in new forms, in huge self-programmed machines needing neither torturers nor torture to produce the ultimate torture. The ghost, one walking down one street, the whole Babel grumbling down a city made up of nothing but streets, slinks away, cursing its father. For it realizes it is chained forever to a petrified tree upon which it has been instructed to leave its initials. Dare it remember why. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're opening up the floor to our open mic. We are going to start with Luna Alva. Are you here, Luna? Yes, okay. So she's a local fantasy author. So Luna, everybody, and then I'll be taking names or whoever wants to come up next.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm really happy to be here. It's an honor. It's sad that it's the first and last time, but hopefully there is other opportunities somewhere else. This is my first book. It's my debut novel in English because I'm from Mexico, so I worked really hard. It's the first book in a dark fantasy series called Axis Mundi, and the first book is called Wind Weaver of Dreams. I will be reading a small fragment of chapter 2. So this book, or this story, is about a young woman named Joanna Cobor, who decides to travel from Mexico to Japan in hopes that she can get a better life, in hopes that she can escape from nightmares, visions, but soon she'll find out that there is a lot more than just that. There's demons, there is a past that was supposed to be forgotten, and there's a spell that she needs to break. So in this chapter, she has just arrived to Tokyo. She's sightseeing, hoping that she can get a little bit of the taste of the culture, and well, things don't always go as expected. At the entrance of one of the smaller buildings, young priestess selling lucky charms and greeting visitors. They were wearing the traditional outfit that identified them as priestess of the temple, a red hakama and a white kosode. I took a closer look at the amulets. One of the priestess told me that these charms were called omamori, and that the phrase embroidered in them gave each one of them a different use. I took one that read Shingan Joju, which means earnest prayers being answered. What is your heart's deepest desire? The priestess asked in Japanese. I tilted my head, wondering why she had asked something so personal. I smiled and put it down. The woman grabbed me by the wrist and looked me in the eyes. You can't escape the sins of the past, she said. I tried to free myself, but my body felt weak under her grip. I felt lightheaded. Just like the night before, the scene around me became faint. I could hardly recognize where I was. Then the image cleared up. I was somewhere else yet again. Instantly, my pulse sped up, making me feel even dizzier. Breathe, Joanna, breathe, I told myself, knowing that I couldn't gain anything if I lost control. As my breath became steadier and my heartbeat went back to normal, I observed that place without going too far. It was a hallway of wooden floors and shoji, which are paper doors. At least I was still in Japan. There was nothing more around. A strange instinct invited me to go ahead and explore a little bit more. A sensation I could only describe as being under a spell. I opened the first door on my right. Behind the shoji, there was a room. The sun that came in softly through the window was warm. It made the vision very real, just like that of the night before. At least, this time there was no fire. In the middle of the room was a young woman, kneeling with her eyes closed. I apologized for entering just like that, but she didn't move. I came closer, so much that it was impossible for her not to notice me, unless I wasn't there. Taking advantage of the situation, I observed her. She couldn't have been more than 15 or 16 years old. She had her hair up in a complex hairstyle, decorated with golden hairpins. The sleeves of her beautiful red and gold kimono spilled over the tatami floor like bright red paint on a canvas. Beyond her, through the window, I could see part of a garden. It had different types of flowers whose names I didn't know, and a spring water decorated with stones. The sound of the door opening behind me startled me, and I backed up looking for a place to hide. There was no such place. The room was empty. There was a man at the door. He entered the room without asking. He too was unable to see me. The subtle expression marks on his forehead made me think he was younger than he appeared, in his late 30s perhaps. Just like the young girl, he was wearing an elegant garment. I thought he could be maybe a monk or a priest. The man stood in front of the girl. His facade was like that of a mountain, tall, imposing, unbreakable. The girl looked up at him, and for a second, her face filled up with sadness. She was a prey in the aim of a hunter, but she remained quiet. "It is time," said the man in a calm voice, ignoring the heavy tears that flooded the girl's eyes. I had somehow understood what the man had just said, even if he spoke in very ancient Japanese. The girl lowered her face in obedience, and the man left the room. She attempted to stand up and fell to the floor like an autumn leaf. She was crying, painful, silent tears that no one but me could hear. Feeling for someone crying so desperately could be normal, but what I felt was beyond empathy. Her pain was my own. The despair of losing something that was meant to belong in your heart pierced my own chest. I tried to talk to her. I wanted to put my arms around her and tell her she didn't have to do anything she didn't want to. I could help her run away from all the pain. But my voice was nothing but a faraway echo, silent and unheard, just like her weeping. Suddenly, a strange force pulled me away from that vision. This time, I offered resistance. I didn't want to leave her, but I wasn't in control. An energy stronger than mine ripped me away. The image of the young girl became blurry, slowly slipping away. I fell to my knees when I couldn't keep my balance anymore. I was back at the Meiji Shrine. "Can I help you?" asked the woman with a British accent. I looked up at the stranger and tried to reply, but my mouth felt so dry I could barely speak. The wind touched my cheeks. I could still feel the traces of my own tears. Embarrassed and confused, I stood up and walked away, the questions and doubts piling up as I headed back through the tree-blind path. A painful feeling of helplessness still holding on to my heart, making me feel heavy and out of breath. The cool drops of rain made me shiver. It helped me get back to my senses. The wind picked up as if it could understand the chaos in my head. When I reached the exit of the sanctuary, I went back into the train station. My sightseeing plan was ruined. All I wanted to do was to go back home, the one I had left behind in Mexico and where I could feel safe. Thank you.
Luna, do you have any of those books with you for sale? Good girl. Who wants to go next?
Could I please go next? I have to leave in 5 minutes.
Sure. And we can hear you, so that's perfect.
I'm sorry about that. My volume was off. I'm reading.
Hold on a sec. Oh,
Okay.
there we go. Yep.
All right. I'm reading from volume 10 of my Claire Burke mystery series, published by Cozy Cat Press. And this is chapter 1, A Sledding Adventure. 3 small children slammed down the hill on a wooden toboggan, screaming all the way. At the bottom, a little girl yelled, "Again! I want to go again." She had good language skills for her age and could have said "we," but 4-year-old children don't think in terms of "we." 2 mothers, both in their 40s, followed them down the hill and then began the slow trudge back up for the 7th time, toboggan and children in tow. At the top, they looked doubtfully back at the slope below. Heavy sledding traffic and the warm midday sun had left it shiny and crusty, ripe for accidents. Time to leave. But Valerie's son Jeffrey had other ideas. Pointing to the adjoining hill, its coat of fresh snow still unblemished, he cried out, "There! Go there!" That incline was steeper and shorter than the one they were on, and hence less popular with mothers of young children, the only ones here on a school day. But the 2 mothers agreed. Valerie was thinking that the children had managed well on the gentler hill and could safely handle the steeper one. Claire, the twins' mother, was thinking that if the children slid down the steeper hill, they would then see it was too steep to climb back up and would be willing to go home. Soon the children were on their way, with Jeffrey seated at the back since he was the oldest by 4 months. They screamed gleefully, excited by the faster ride. But near the bottom of the hill, the toboggan stopped abruptly and arced into the air, throwing all 3 of them off. Their anguished cries filled the air, and the mothers rushed to their assistance. Jeffrey had been thrown the furthest, and Valerie ran directly to him. Meanwhile, Claire gathered up her own 2, who were more outraged than hurt, and after a couple of minutes of soothing them, she turned to the offending obstacle. From a distance, Claire had thought it must be a log, but now that some of the snow had been dislodged, she saw clearly that it was something else. She then took each child by the hand and walked them over to Jeffrey and his mother. Jeffrey was holding the back of his head where it had connected with the snowbank, but he did not seem to be hurt, and the mothers looked at each other in relief. Yet there was a strained smile on Claire's face. "Why don't you take the children to the ski shack for some hot chocolate, Val?" she asked. "I bet they would like that." 3 heads nodded enthusiastically. Val looked at Claire, about to speak, but Claire gave a quick shake of her head. "Okay," Val agreed, a quizzical note in her voice, because she knew how Claire usually felt about late afternoon snacks. "I will text you in a couple of minutes and join you soon," was all Claire said. Val shrugged her shoulders, helped the children to settle back down on the toboggan, and began the short trek down the rest of the hill. Isabel looked back at her mother, but Claire did not notice. She was already bending over the object that the toboggan had uncovered. Then she pulled out her phone and dialed a familiar number. "Claire, I haven't heard from you in a long time. How are you, and how are the twins doing?" Claire took a moment to savor how different the tone of Inspector Don McCoy was now in comparison to the earlier days of their relationship. But she did not answer his question directly. "Don, I'm afraid I found another body." There was silence at the other end of the line, followed by a slight sigh. "Of course you have," he grunted, alluding to the many unusual circumstances Claire had found herself in the past. "Where are you?" Claire told him, and he instructed her to stay there until he arrived. After the call ended, Claire texted Val to tell her what she had discovered, and promptly got back another snarky reply. "Of course you found a body. I would expect nothing less of you, Claire. Right now we are all headed to the bathroom. Wish me luck." By the time Inspector McCoy and his partner, Sergeant Al Crombie, arrived 20 minutes later, the temperature was beginning to cool as the sun sank further towards the horizon. Claire's fingers and toes were becoming numb and her teeth were starting to chatter. The inspector took one look at her and suggested she wait for him in the ski shack, but Claire declined. "I want to see his face," she said. The man, for clearly it was a man, was lying face down, but Claire remarked that there was something familiar about his clothes and general body shape. "We'll have to wait for the medical examiner and the tech team to get here," McCoy explained. But Sergeant Crombie had been taking a call on his own phone. It ended, and he turned to Don. "There has been a double homicide in a rooming house downtown, and the medical examiner and tech team are there. He suggested we take lots of pictures and then send the body directly to his lab." Crombie pulled out his camera and got busy. Finally, he said, "The ambulance is on its way. Maybe we could turn him over now?" McCoy agreed, seeing how cold Claire was and knowing how stubborn she was. Claire gasped when the body was flipped. "I know him," she said hoarsely. "That poor family." "What do you mean? Who is it?" Don McCoy asked. "You remember that case with Stefano and Mona? This is Stefano's brother, Marco." And I think I better leave it there. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I thank you for word up. I just hope somewhere else somebody repeats this good idea. It's been a pleasure to participate when I've had the opportunity.
Oh, great, great. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think we do have a few people locally, but I don't think they're going to be online.
No, I don't think so. Okay. Well, as I said, it's been nice. Goodbye.
All right. It's just us now. Okay, so Michael White, you're ready for us?
Oh, I'm not ready. Because I haven't done this before, but if I don't do it first, then I'm going to run away. So I've word up, I came to it late. And I wish I had discovered it a lot earlier because your panelist on horror back in September, I think it was, inspired me to write a play. I started writing plays about 4 years ago, and screenplays. I'm kind of heresy. I made my living writing TV commercials for 30 years, and now I've turned into writing screenplays, and I've always written songs. I'm a musician as well. So this is a song I wrote. It hit me over the past few years as I'm retiring and my friends are retiring, and over COVID and everybody's talking about mental health and issues that they were having, and I've had some family members who really struggled with it. So this is called 444, and I don't know if you know what that number means. I'll explain it after. I heard an angel today. She was calling out my name. She said, "Come in from the rain. It won't wash away your pain." I said, "Nobody wants to know, but that's okay." The hours pass so slow when I'm living in my head. The darkness turns me around and I feel it's near the end. I said, "Nobody wants to know, but that's okay. It's a hurt you can't see, and it twists inside of me. I'm just a ghost on the street in perfect agony. That's the truth I take home. That's the truth I take home." I said, "Please ease my mind." She said, "You got to spend the time. Get back everything they take and give away all the love you make." She said, "Your heart will bring you home, and that's okay. I've been lost. Now I'm found. I've got an angel of my own." She said, "There's always a cost and something will always bring you down. And that's the truth you take home. That's the truth you take home." My angel turned and said goodbye. She said, "It's time to make it on your own. Now you know how to fly, and it's okay to feel alone. That's the way it goes, and that's okay. I'll be okay." Thank you.
That's great. So who wants to be next? Who's ready? Oh. Frank? Come on up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jack. And I thought of how I could say thank you, show my gratitude, and give a farewell to Word Up. All right.
Nope, just want to make sure they can see you.
What Word Up has meant to me, 9 years ago, I would have been the person at the back of the room just listening. And through your encouragement and your way to make us comfortable about it, my way of saying thank you is that I'm actually up here today sharing what I've been able to do over the few years. So thought I would share, this is how I used to write 9 years ago. Starbucks. So I thought the best thing to do is to share what Word Up has allowed me to do. Bring where I started to this point. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm glad that you guys did what you did for me. Okay. So I don't have a title for this. I just wrote it. Looking for love in so many places, can't seem to find in any of those faces. Try as hard as I might, I just can't seem to keep it right. But I'm all ready to give it a fight, because in the end, it will be all right. Looking for love in all the wrong places, is it just a dream filled with dark spaces? The rhythm of my life is just as clear. No, yeah, the rhythm of life is just too dear to let it stand still and never give it a cheer. How to get involved, how to get a start with it all with laughter. Just see from a smile is all that you're after. Was the very first thing that I wrote that was poetry. Since then, I've gone to write many, many things about different stuff. I also do a little bit of song lyrics. one of the works that I did, I collaborated with another gentleman. I gave him words that he had to produce music for, because I don't play. But he gave me music he had no words for. And when I listened to it, I heard this song in the words, and that's the way I told him. And that's called Mile High. I'd had chords and a refrain that it repeated. The chorus was, I called low, and the refrain was a higher. So I came up with, when I'm blue, it's true, so hard to break through, simply have to make do. And then I saw you. Who? You. Oh my, gonna fly a mile high, gonna play all day and stay all night. Gonna reach the stars way above the sky. It's only you that can show me how. Then it goes back. Loneliness now withdrew. No longer will I have to make do. The blues all gone, all subdued. Gonna see me finally pull through as I set my heart as a compass for you. Oh my, I'm gonna fly high. There's no turning back once I saw your smile. Gonna take our love to the other side as I spread my wings and touch the sky. You're always there to show me how. No more going round, 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 round. Oh my, gonna fly a mile high. Gonna take it straight down the line. Oh my, gonna fly a mile high. Gonna take my time because there's nothing there that can take me down. And this one here, I feel it's worth repeating. I did it last Word Up. It was I wrote it for the flash fiction, short story. So it came as a short story. It actually came to me through my coworker. He mentioned to me how advanced AI had been, how far it had gotten, and it kind of, for me, it turned me. It didn't do for me what he thought it was going to do for me. So this came out of that. And I feel that when I first said it, it sounded like a doomsday warning, and nobody got my message. So I participated in a presentation classroom to help me present it better. Okay, so this is, I'm going to do it again. It's called Wake Up Call. AI, a generation's future curse still untold. What mayhem and suffering yet to unfold. Without a heart to guide it right, the only course is self-destruct. You cannot help, no, you are flawed from the beginning. Your intelligence rooted only in definition. You cannot help but repeat the past for void of purpose as history forecast. You are to be used, no doubt, by favorable and unfavorable forces alike. But it is the dark source which I would dislike. You seduce me by entertaining at first, but it is domination that you actually thirst. With a wall of steel, impenetrable and perhaps indestructible, you cease to be less artificial and more alien and maleficial. The only good is that you prove creation is before evolution. But what course could I possibly have but to destroy you before you destroyed me? From dust you came, and rust you shall become. Wake up, world, please wake up.
Thank you. Okay, who's the next brave soul? Yeah, we're coming back there.
Is it okay?
Yep.
My name's Mike Medill. I'm a writer from the thriving metropolis of Beaton, the cosmopolitan hub of Simcoe County, as everyone knows. I've been writing for many years, and I guess it was at the end of 2021, I entered my manuscript in a contest and was lucky enough to be one of 4 winners. And part of the prize was to get my manuscript published. So this is my first full-length book of poetry. And it deals largely with my dealing with my dad's sickness and death and my resultant depression, and then working through that and coming out the other side, as it were, dealing with my dark night of the soul. So I'll just read a couple here and give you guys a taste of it. And if it strikes a chord with anybody, I did bring a couple of copies. Little X's. If I thought it would help through all the chaos, I'd take up smoking your leftover Viscounts, drag deep on one cigarette after another until my horizon leveled out. The time you'd take putting time on hold for a spell. You only confessed one of your dreams to me, archaeological digs in Egypt buried long ago, but you never shared your fears. What a gift it would have been to learn you were broken too. That black dog keeps a bead on me, always yapping how disjointed and incapable I am, overwhelmed and overlooked, squandering the degree that hung in the hallway I used to own. There's something to be said for asylums. 3 meals a day, a prescribed numbness to shuffle through the calendar, little X's creeping across the weeks until the flip of another month renews false hope. Would standing in the rain rid me of worry, drench the last of my loss? No sang-froid, no faith in the future. Break my legs, wrap them around my neck, if that's the price and pose it takes. We'll end on a bit of a lighter note. This one's called What I Need Is Another Hole in the Head. Deliver me a line that flows longer than 5-minute epoxy, tools smoother than silicone in the sun. A metaphor that doesn't need tightening like nearly every new sink's tailpiece, seeping a smug drip or two, alliterations too loath to let go. Whipping up a batch of muscle and shiver should be easier, like tinting paint. But most days, writing is a storm of sawdust. No glorious details appear, just tangled turns of phrase and twisted green stick breaks. I might as well toss my words into a cement mixer. Maybe try a good medieval brainletting to exsanguinate all my hangups. Plug the hole with plumber's putty and some trusty cliches. Thank you.
Okay. Want to come up, Michael? You also showed up a few times in the montage.
Okay, well, this is an untitled poem because thinking of titles is hard. I must become an inferno, supernova abyss that flames on even when all hope is gone, a volcano that erupts strong to engulf all that is wrong, but a treacherous gale of tsunami threatens me, wishes to cradle my body in its rising tides, to subside my fire-breathing waves, to drag me beneath the surface, extinguishing my flame for life, claiming my strife as a whirlpool knife that will slice and dice, encasing my passion into dry ice, burning me with sub-zero cold, a whirlwind to claim and hold, but no. I must be bold. These bones are not too old to know they still hold my dreaming heart in their hands. I am not a skeleton of a man when I stand. This conflagration engulfs the land, scorching these shaking hands. My life set ablaze, my eyelids fan the flames, a mind that ever turns the page, reigniting into the next phase. Confidence reigns in the face of fear. With these searing auburn eyes, I see clear. Enduring the heat and learning to breathe in the smokescreen of doubt, I now shout, what about those still lost in the mist? Do not forget they persist, awaiting for their passionate flame to enlist their ember dancing hearts. This life can get hard. We're all dealt different cards, but we all should be playing together. So let us sever the belief that we need to be lonely. If only we could see past the dark clouds that veil our paths. Let us not fade into wrath. The fire burns, yet we control the intensity. So focus intently, breathing peace into the meltdown. Let your passion churn into a firestorm, but be vigilant, young fireball. You do not need to become a supernova right away. Keep going and build your strength. Push yourself to discover new lengths, but remember, if you explode too soon and far, you will be carried away, fading to the winds of change. I see inside your veins, you are courageous, strong, and brave. Take it day by day, don't worry. I see your marvelous pillars of flames rising sky high. Give it time, for the billowing smoke will fade away, and you will most certainly find your way outside this fog of uncertainty. Until then, struggle to reach your eternity, learning that even the coldest, darkest eyes never lose sight. They reignite, flickering bright, blazing, and unyielding, uncompromisable light.
Always enjoy your work. Do we have anyone else for open mic? Bruce has something? Okay, are you gonna come up? Okay. You come up first and we'll put you next. Okay. Lewis the artist.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Andrina, but I go by Lewis the artist. I'm a poet, artist, performer, that kind of thing. I have just one for today, and most of my poetry I write about love, life, loss, all the things we cannot solve. And this one is kind of about a few of those things. So I hope you enjoy. What if God is love was the truth the first time it was spoken, and love is what arises even when you break your own heart? Then God could be seen even in the darkest rooms, could be felt even in the coldest palms, and you'd never need to open your mouth, letting spit ripple down your tongue for fear talking wouldn't be enough, because God could hear you in here and in here. Before your lips speak its name, you see, just pause. So sure, you're thinking of just cause to denounce me, but pause. See, you need to breathe, because brethren wasn't just meant for the mendem, it was to honor all humans under one spirit, love, my brethren. Hold fast to what I tell you, because these words, they poured out of me, typology unbeknownst to me. Get them to listen, speak with my power so they know who I am, what I am, that I am love. Through me, I am only a channel, scrawny young vessel flowing out this particular idea, and I'm sorry, I just meant to hypothesize a frame of mind that love could be the God of all. And those beneath or beside help to spread the spirit, and there may be many in water, in Vikram, the light feathers of the eagle sky. Still, I'd call on it, because I need love so badly. I crave it. I refuse to hide the vulnerability. I need it. And I know you feel this too. So even in the darkness and the frigid veins that are yours, in your eyes, I see hope for love, for us, for God. That's all.
Okay, Bruce has some more for us.
Just a short one, just as a sort of a benediction on, don't tell my wife I took off my mask. She won't like it, no. Sorry. The whole spirit of Word Up has been to welcome people who share in the joyfulness of words and the experience of making language into something beautiful. So that when we had the readings, we would feed them, we would feed the readers, and this is what we miss about Shane, because, you're not allowed to drink in the library and things like that. So, but we would gather around and people would chat and they'd talk. And there was a sense of celebration about the whole thing. And I would hope that what comes of all this is that you continue to celebrate the word, that you go out and you sit down, and you just have meals with each other or coffee with each other, and you share your poetry. It's the great tradition of sharing that is at the root of poetry readings and literary readings and things like that. So, as a kind of a benediction on Word Up, and to thank Linda and Colleen and all the people who've been involved, in Aaron and all the people who've been involved in Word Up, this is a grace for welcome. You have been many places, and the world that followed you is broad and wise as blue sky. Come in, rest here as you wish. Take off your cold overcoat, feel at home. If you have left the comforts of the familiar, look around, plant your thoughts and let them grow in shelter. You bring the gift of experience from the places you have seen, people you have come to know, the knowledge of open doors. If you wish, tell us over dinner which road the wind travels. So if we should choose to follow the path that led you here, we may learn how the road returns. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for participating.
Yeah. Are we sure there's no one else? Oh, I thought so. You better get up here. Oh, we have more than one other person? Okay, Dorothy? One more? Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Hi, I just wanted to make a little announcement. I only actually helped out with Word Up for 2 years or so, but for 6 years, I ran a poetry workshopping group in my home, and we would spend an hour studying poetry, or we would look at form poems, or we would pick a particular poet and study that poet's work. And then we would have a break for coffee and cookies and chatting, and then we would workshop our own work. And if there are people interested in that sort of thing, I would be willing to start it up again in September sometime. I spend the summer at the cottage, so I don't do anything except write my own stuff then. But if anybody's interested, no, there's an idea. No, but if anybody's interested, you could see me afterwards or contact me. My email is glosifan@gmail.com. So if you wanted to get in touch with me.
We can put that on the Facebook group too. Yeah, our website is down now, so Facebook is our place now. So come on up.
So about the event, I forgot to mention that it is also an open mic. So I will be having a featured artist. This month we have Dwayne Morgan, and after that it's followed by open mic where artists and poets, and rappers and dancers are all able to come out, converse, and share their artistry. So that will be happening once a month. CW Coops, you guys can follow me or my Barry and find all the details there. I will also be doing an interview on CTV News on Monday, so you might catch more info next week on it. Oh, good for you. Great.
Mike, you're loud enough.
No, I'm,
You're loud enough.
yeah, that's what my wife says. This is the new kind of tablet. Yes, it is paper. It comes out of a printer in 2D. For those of you who have lost touch with paper. I'd like to do a few poems. Start with a little bit of comedy because I feel like everything that I've read up until now is either about current news or sad or tragic or whatever. So I'll start with that, and then one about an artist who's a friend of mine. And then we'll see after that. This one is called My Life, the Comedy. My life is nothing but a comical plot that doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. The actors portrayed had nothing to do with the goals that I set, then derailed by a few. The money, the fame have dropped onto my lap. Never noticed it coming. It turned into a trap. My ego grew bigger, my spirit lost track. on a merry-go-round when there's no turning back. The pleasures were many, superficial at best. Why was I running? I couldn't get any rest. The commitment was firm when I signed on the line. Never knew what was coming. It came at me from behind. When promises believed turned to shadows at night, the tunnel got narrow, started fading the light. My mother often told me, if it's too good to be true, she should have added that the joke's on you. I've long since retired from the race I engaged, my illusions destroyed from the battles I've waged. The friends that I made were good for a while. Now the songs that we sung have since gone out of style. So I have a friend, known him for 20 years, and he went from being a government worker and followed his art, and he's now a full-time painter. And I admired that in him. And I felt that the best way to tell him would be to write a poem about him. And we presented it to him at a very pivotal moment and just brought him to tears. He had never thought that we saw him that way. But this is called The Art is the Man. The joy, the love, the conflict, the light perpetually chaperone him as he reveals his thoughts and visions for all to see on surfaces of canvas, wood, and paper, or whatever else his hands may encounter. He would paint on the calm surface of a pond, should the water only accommodate him by sitting still, or on a beach as he lays his colors to blend with the sand, only to watch the tide reshape and wash them away, dissolving the bonds and the dreams embedded in his creation. Uplifted, but forever compliant to his omnipotent inspiration, he captures the moment, framed in the movement, while using his innate intuition as the portal to store every future drop and stroke of nuance, later to be skillfully reposed onto the welcoming medium. His loyal friends, stone, tree, water, earth, and stillness, always there whispering to him as his muses, unveiling their beauty, working their magic to set in place panoramas formed from aged elemental particles, conjuring the depth of textured layers and prismatic notes. Then and only then, following the brandishing of his final strokes of brilliance, will the oil and the pigments sing his praises of agile composition, all the while relishing every chance they get to betray him, should he have had a moment of seizure or distraction. So this is one, again, this happened before and made some people chuckle. I often write, and I write about my wife. She is such a source of energy for me, both life energy and artistic. And so there have been many times where I've written about her or to her. This is called Love You All Over Again. If your turn comes before mine, I want to be there with you when it happens, because I want to behold the last glimmer in your eyes as you look towards the bright light without ever being blinded. I want to experience the joy in your heart as it breaks out of its confinement and finds freedom in the expanse. I want to breathe the air that imbues your last breath so that I can preserve its fragrance in my core for the rest of my life. I want to sense the last beat of your heart thundering through my blood like the ripple in a pond, racing to all the edges and limits I want to resonate with your sadness as it blends with mine in that melancholic transition that will echo through time. I want to hear your last song as it flows through your weakened voice so I can sing it in my sleep. I want to absorb your last words so I can remember the love that you've expressed to me during our time together. I want to watch over you as your body turns to pure energy, coalescing into your omnipotence and into my memories. I want to feel the last grip of your hand, telling me that now is the moment where you go back to our original path and stay for a little while longer while on this detour called life. I want to touch your body one last time, so I know deep in my soul that you have left and have gone to that wondrous place where you can wait for me to join you to start loving you all over again. So you can see that I'm pretty indifferent to what I write. It doesn't affect me at all. So last word up, I mentioned that the first poem I ever wrote, I was 11 years old, and it was after my father had become ill. He had colon cancer and he survived it, but it threw me into this very deep train of thought that what if it becomes terminal? What would he want to tell me? And at the time, I didn't know a whole lot of songs, but Amazing Grace was one of them. And so I wrote alternate lyrics to Amazing Grace. And I want to share this with you because it's with me. It's been with me since I was 11 years old. And it's about what my father would want to tell me. Go out, my boy, and defend your name. The cruel world is waiting for you. It's going to be a hard life, but don't lose faith. There will be ups and downs, but doesn't everybody have them? So what I'm asking is for your promise that you will always honor me. After I die, I want you to take all I have and use it fully, as I have used it for so many years until this moment. Remember, with every loss there is gain. So dry your tears, bring out your courage. And one more thing before I leave, tell me you love me.
Do we have any other open mic or any more? Pauline, yes.
So this is a great turnout. I can't see everybody when I'm in the front row. So, yes, of course, got to adjust that. And I will hold this. So one thing I like about Word Up is the amount of variety that we have with all the different speakers. I mean, especially tonight, you can see everybody writes different things. They're writing from different voices. And that's what I truly love about Word Up. It'd be sad that when it's over, but it's been wonderful to hear everybody's voices during all the time that it's been going on. So I, in sort of in the interest or in the sort of vein of everybody writing different things, I write sci-fi thrillers. So it's a little different than some of the poetry we've heard tonight. And my next book comes out in actually 2 weeks today.
It's called The Storm, and it's the third book in the Gatherer series. So I'm going to read a very, very short clip of it. It's from the very start of the book. So here goes. Oh, and I also want to mention that on Tuesday night, quite a few people, or some of the people in the audience were at a performance workshop, which was basically teaching us how to better perform our work. And so hopefully some of it rubbed off. So we'll see. Storm stumbled on the path, the vision of what she had witnessed in the clearing blocking out all else. There had been an excruciating, searing burn as the gatherer's corrupted field had stripped away her energy, leaving her bare and raw. She could feel the damage that underlay the wonder and the sheer awe of what she had seen. It had been a glimpse of what had brought all the people to the clearing. It wasn't a path or a channel or even the gatherer, but an awareness of something bigger, something so infinite that it shut out all else. Part of her wanted to go back to it for even the slightest touch of it again. Yet the part of her that wanted to live kept her stumbling down the path. She struggled to find the trail in the dark forest and used the rough bark of the tree as guideposts. She anchored herself to the wetness of the ferns against her legs and the strike of water drops on her face. When she reached the log they had climbed over on the way in, she pressed her hands into the wet sponginess of the moss and turned to let Marie and Amanda catch up. A new rush of rain pattered on the empty path. When had they last been behind her? She had no memory of their footsteps or their breath. She had seen only the spectacle of the gatherer, the exquisite upfront view of a tiger's face before it eats you alive. Oh, and before I let Linda come up here. Oh, and one thing I should mention is I'm also having a book launch on May 27th at Kensington Burger Bar. So if anybody's around, everybody's welcome. It's at 7 p.m. And before Linda comes up and reads, I wanted to recognize her contribution to Word Up. I've been maybe volunteering for 4 years or 5 years, I can't even remember. But Linda's been here since the beginning. She's been the driving force from the beginning and has let everybody share their voices and has been relentless in terms of her work on the website and promoting other authors and finding other authors and encouraging people and creating such a welcoming environment. So on behalf of everybody, I want to thank you and I have a little gift for you. There you go. Oh, that's nice. Flower. Everybody, thank you.
Oh, purple. You can never tell that I like purple. Thank you. That's
No
very
problem.
nice. Can you set up the video?
Yes.
So I've been working on something that involves some visual art with a story. It's been going long, so I was trying to cut it in half today, which I think I did. So I had to cut some of the drawing. It's a digital drawing, and kind of goes with the story.
Okay, tell me when.
So one of the things that he told us last night or Tuesday night at our lesson was, make sure you take a breath, because I always start reading my stuff in like speaker voice, like MC voice. So take a breath, and he says, ask yourself, how may I serve? So how may I serve you in my story? So do that and put my pen down.
Do you want me to start it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, here we go.
The powerful claws place another, so much like me, who felt the same terror. We are contiguous and must share the same deep dark. My ancients and the new all agree. This other is of the same seed as I. What does this mean? Besides the ancients, I have only enjoyed the company of tiny spring and summer scented ones. Will it be pleasant to share the drink of life this intimately with one so alike as I? As fear envelops me, I am reminded of the dream of the elastic pink being I once was. When I traveled and bounced and shed water, and when I grieved. We have no choice but to mingle and twine, seeking the drink of life. At his touch, I recall him. We are not hims and hers now, but he was. Without understanding how, in the same way I know to reach up for the warm, I know him. I feel too much at the ethereal remembrance of us. Fear, pain, love, loss, love, and loss again. It is abundant and furious and beautiful, and I don't like it. I wonder if he also knows these things and feels as I do. I'm afraid to reach out to ask him. The ancients comfort me. They say these are ghosts of lives lived and gone. There is only now, and now must be peace. He of the same seed. He is fearful of me. They say these are ghosts of lives lived and gone. There is only now, and now must be peace. He of the same seed. He is fearful of me. I sense this and something more, an emotion darker than the deep below and without the drink of life. I feel the song of new scented ones. They are glorious little ones, and they tell me no. The other hates. Hate? The song of the ancients is vexing, and I do not understand. It is an emotion like fear and most like love, but how can that be? Hate is like poisoning the drink of life, which is glorious, good. I don't want this hate. The powerful claws that push at our reachers and force our cores to touch, twining us together. They push and twist us many times, season over excruciating season. Together we reach to the up to compete for warm glow, forever touching every part of each of ourselves. In sleep season, I dream of the ghosts of us. When he professed undying love to me, we loved each other. The ancient ones love. They sing of how all love. I ask of their ghost memories, but they have none, just of rebirth and renewal. They sing of the fleeting lives of both giants and wee beasts, but not of being the fleshy, fast, bendy travelers that were once he and I. Passion, pain, progeny. I dream of a life filled with contradiction every cold and dark sleep season and every warm growing time. Disasters, love, fear, hate, and vitriol. We are so tightly braided together by the powerful claws, I feel his gnarled, angry soul corrupting my own. I will never be free of this, never. The ancients do not have a song for never, for they say there is no such thing. The hum of now and always, but now feels like forever. I can't understand how never can't exist, as I feel it as deeply as in the before. I will never be free of him. The ancients, the scented ones, and all the others I now touch in the deep dark are displeased with my misery.
And have your attention, please. The library will be closing in 15 minutes. If you are borrowing any material, please take library items to the service desk or self-checkout at this time.
The ancients, the scented ones, and all the others I now touch in the deep dark are displeased with my misery, even more so by his hate. We hurt them all. I am responsible for bringing them this sadness. When the cold returns and the sleep is upon us, I decide to seek dreams of peace. It is difficult. I do find it. It's a feverish passion, unlike the warm up and more pleasurable. Friction, desire, memories of heated emotions, and a deep love I will not have upon awakening. I share this with my hate-filled other. He repels my peaceful, loving memories. His retaliations are his recollections. He had caused damage to my delicate pink bark. He'd broken the rosy ghost who was me many times. He continues to inflict this pain upon me with these memories. The ancients and little progeny urge me to continue. They sing of the weakening of his hate, if even ever so slight. This helps me endure. I cannot untwist myself from him, especially not in our remembrances. He cannot damage this bark, and my reaching core becomes stronger every growing season. If I could bounce away as I did once before, I could love him from afar. Now I must love him where we are. We have been coiled together so many seasons, we are one. Our reachers blended, our gatherers cloistered, our drink of life enjoyed and even shared with the little ones. When the warm is too much, when he shifts angry memories of the ghosts of us, I force upon him recollection of sweet embrace or kindness. If I hated him as he me, I would hate myself. Instead, I love him. When he retaliates, then I love him more. It pleases the ancients and brings the abundant progeny of the little scented ones harmonious songs. I grow deeper and wiser. I come to know forgiveness. We all come to know peace. And we made it through the announcement. So I just want to do the usual closing thank you to Rhubarb Media, who has been hosting our website, Check Energy for hosting our Zoom. And thanks to the City of Barrie for their support and helping us pay our authors, and for our writing community. You guys are the ones who made Word Up special by coming out, sharing your hearts and souls. You know, sometimes some of your deepest, hardest memories and experiences in life, they've been shared here. So thank you for that. Thank you for 9 great years, guys.